Hey everyone, and welcome back to Life Stories Network. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because today's story is one that'll make you stop and think about what family really means. It's a story about betrayal, heartbreak, and a twist that not even my family saw coming. So grab a coffee or snack, because this one's going to get personal. Really personal. I grew up thinking my family was perfect. We weren't rich, but my parents always made sure we had everything we needed. My sister, Lily, was 2 years older than me, and she was always the golden child. Perfect grades, perfect hair, and somehow she always knew how to make everyone like her. I didn't mind it much when we were kids, but as we got older, I started noticing how everything seemed to revolve around her. My mom would always say things like, "Lily's just more responsible," or "You should learn from your sister." At first, I brushed it off, thinking maybe I just needed to work harder. But no matter what I did, whether it was getting into college, landing my first job, or even helping around the house, it never seemed good enough. Things really started to change after my dad passed away. It was sudden. A heart attack that left our whole family shaken. He was the glue that held us together, and without him, everything slowly started to fall apart. During the funeral, I saw the way my mom leaned entirely on Lily for support, as if I wasn't even there. I tried to be strong for both of them, but every time I spoke, it felt like my words didn't matter. A few weeks later, the topic of my dad's will came up. I didn't expect much. Maybe some sentimental things, like his watch, or a few family photos. But when the lawyer read out the details, I was stunned. Everything, the house, the savings, even the business he had, was left entirely to Lily. My name wasn't even mentioned. I remember sitting there, my heart pounding, trying to make sense of it. "There has to be a mistake," I said. But my mom didn't even look surprised. She just sighed and said, "Your father knew Lily would handle things better. You'll be fine on your own. I'll be fine on my own." Those words echoed in my mind for days. It wasn't about the money. It was about what it meant. They didn't just take away my inheritance. They took away my place in the family. I felt invisible. I stopped visiting for a while. Calls went unanswered. Texts were left on read. I focused on my job, trying to build a life for myself. I didn't have much, but at least I had peace. Until one day, I got a call from my mom, her voice unusually cheerful. "Lily's getting married," she said. "It's going to be a destination wedding in Hawaii." I congratulated her, trying to sound happy, even though a part of me ached inside. I asked about the plans, the dates, and if I could help with anything. She said, "Oh, don't worry. Everything's taken care of. We'll all fly together." Weeks went by, and I never heard another word about the trip. Then one morning, I woke up to photos all over social media. My entire family smiling in Hawaii, dressed in matching colors, celebrating Lily's wedding. My mom, my cousins, even family friends were there. Everyone, except me. I remember staring at my phone, my hands shaking, scrolling through picture after picture. There was even a family photo captioned, "Couldn't be happier to have everyone together." Everyone, except me. I called my mom right away, trying to stay calm. "Mom, what happened? I thought I was invited." She hesitated, then said, "Oh, honey, it was such a last-minute change. We couldn't get another ticket. It just didn't work out this time. Didn't work out this time." That's what she said. As if forgetting your own child was no big deal. I hung up the phone, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. I cried that night, not because I missed the wedding, but because I finally realized the truth. I was never really part of their world, but life has a funny way of turning pain into power. That night, as I sat there with my puffy eyes and broken heart, I made myself a promise. I wouldn't beg for love that was never freely given. I was going to build a life so strong, they'd have no choice but to notice. Over the next 2 years, I poured everything I had into my work. I climbed the ladder in my company, took night classes, and learned how to invest. I started a small business on the side, an online design studio, and it surprisingly took off. Slowly, my savings grew, and for the first time, I wasn't surviving anymore. I was thriving. One day while working on a client project, I met Daniel. He was charming, kind, and humble. The kind of person who actually listened when you spoke. He wasn't flashy, though he drove nice cars and wore designer suits. I didn't know at first that he was a millionaire. He never flaunted it. He treated everyone equally, and he made me feel seen in a way my family never did. We started dating, and for the first time, I felt like I was part of a team, like someone truly believed in me. Months turned into a year, and one evening, under a sky full of stars, he got down on one knee and asked me to marry him. I said yes, tears streaming down my face. When I told my mum and Lily, they barely reacted. My mum said, "That's nice, dear." Like I had told her I bought a new pair of shoes. Lily just smirked and said, "Hope he knows what he's getting into." Their words didn't hurt like they used to. I had built enough strength to not let them define me anymore. My wedding day was something out of a dream, but not for the reasons my family would ever understand. It wasn't about the luxury, the money, or the venue. It was about finally celebrating a love that healed me after years of being treated like I didn't belong. Daniel and I decided to host the ceremony at his family's private estate overlooking the ocean. It wasn't just beautiful, it was breathtaking. Gardens filled with white roses, fairy lights strung between tall palm trees, and the soft sound of waves in the distance. It was peaceful, elegant, and intimate, just how I'd always imagined it. But deep down, I knew there was something missing. Despite everything that had happened, a small part of me still wished my family could be there. I wanted them to see that I was happy, that I made it without their approval. So, against Daniel's better judgment, I sent them invitations. Weeks passed, and I didn't hear a word. No calls, no messages, not even a simple "congratulations." I told myself it didn't matter. But the night before the wedding, I checked my phone one last time. And that's when I saw it. A text from my mom. "Sorry, honey. We can't make it. Lily's baby shower is the same weekend. Maybe next time, maybe next time." As if weddings happen every other week. I remember staring at that message, my chest tightening. It felt like a punch to the gut, but this time, I didn't cry. I just smiled, put my phone down, and whispered to myself, "You're enough. You've always been enough." The next morning, as the sun rose, I slipped into my wedding dress, a soft champagne color that shimmered under the light. When I looked in the mirror, I barely recognized the woman staring back. She wasn't the forgotten daughter anymore. She was strong, confident, and loved. The ceremony was everything I'd dreamed of. Daniel looked at me like I was the only person in the world. His parents were kind and welcoming, and his friends made me feel like part of a big, happy family. Something I'd longed for my entire life. After the I-dos, we walked hand in hand down the aisle, surrounded by cheers and claps from people who genuinely cared. It felt like the universe was finally balancing itself, giving me the happiness I'd been denied for so long. During the reception, Daniel stood up to give a speech. He thanked everyone for coming, and then, with a smile, he turned toward me and said something that made my heart stop. "Most of you don't know this, but the woman I married today isn't just beautiful. She's the strongest person I've ever met. She built her own business from scratch. She's self-made, and she taught me the real meaning of love." The crowd cheered, and I felt tears streaming down my face. For once, they weren't tears of pain. They were tears of pride. After the wedding, Daniel and I flew to Italy for our honeymoon. It was magical. Days spent exploring small towns, nights filled with laughter and candlelight dinners. I didn't think about my family once. For the first time, I was living for me, but fate wasn't done writing my story just yet. A few months after we got back, I got a call from an unknown number. When I picked up, it was my mom. Her voice sounded nervous, almost shaky. "Sweetheart," she said, "we need to talk." I hesitated, unsure whether I wanted to open that door again. But something in her tone made me listen. She went on. "Lily's husband made some bad investments. They lost a lot of money. Things aren't looking good." I stayed quiet, waiting for her to get to the point. Then she said it. "We might lose the house." For a moment, I didn't know what to say. This was the same house they had chosen Lily over me for. The same family that left me out of their lives. Their inheritance and their celebrations. And now they were calling me. Not because they missed me, but because they needed me. I took a deep breath and asked, "What do you want me to do, Mom?" She paused, then said softly, "We heard your husband is successful. Maybe he could help us. Just until we get back on our feet." I couldn't believe it. After all the years of being ignored, forgotten, and pushed aside, they were reaching out, not to apologize, but to ask for money. I told her I'd think about it and hung up. That night, I told Daniel everything. He listened quietly, then said something that stuck with me forever. "You owe them nothing, but if you choose to help, do it because you want to, not because they deserve it." The next day, I called my mom back. My voice was calm but firm. "Mom," I said, "I'm sorry for what you're going through, but I can't be your safety net. When I needed you, you weren't there. I learned to stand on my own. Maybe it's time for you to do the same." There was silence on the line. Then she whispered, "I understand." But I could tell she didn't. She was still the same woman who believed love came with conditions. Weeks passed, and I didn't hear from her again. Until one afternoon, I got a message, a photo from Lily. It was of my family sitting together at what looked like a small cafe. Under it, she'd written, "We're proud of you, truly." For a long time, I stared at that picture. I didn't know whether to smile or cry. But in that moment, I realized something important. Forgiveness doesn't always mean letting people back into your life. Sometimes, it just means letting go of the pain they caused and moving forward without hate in your heart. That night, Daniel and I stood on our balcony, watching the sunset. He wrapped his arms around me and said, "You did the right thing." And for the first time, I believed him. I may have been cut out of the inheritance and my sister's wedding, but in return, I gained something far more valuable: self-respect, peace, and a love that no amount of money could ever buy. After everything that had happened, life felt lighter than I ever imagined. Daniel and I settled into a routine that was filled with laughter, travel, and genuine love, the kind that doesn't need validation from anyone else. I was finally free from the shadows of my family's favoritism and neglect. But as much as I tried to ignore the past, it wasn't completely behind me. Life has a way of reminding you, sometimes when you least expect it. One afternoon, about a year after our wedding, I got an unexpected invitation. It was from a charity gala in New York, a big event that featured business leaders, philanthropists, and celebrities. I almost didn't go, thinking it might be stuffy or boring. But Daniel convinced me, saying, "This is your world now. You've earned the right to show up anywhere you want." At the gala, the room shimmered with chandeliers and glitz, but I didn't care about the glitter. I was there to network for my business and enjoy the evening with Daniel. Then, as I walked past the main stage, I froze. There, standing in a designer gown, was Lily, my sister. She spotted me instantly and froze too. There was a brief moment of recognition, a flicker in her eyes that said she remembered everything. All the ways she and my family had left me out, the inheritance, the wedding, the endless comparisons. And now, here I was, thriving, elegant, and surrounded by people who genuinely respected me. I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and pity. She walked over, carefully smiling, as if rehearsing what to say. "Wow, you look amazing," she said. "I didn't expect to see you here." I smiled politely. "Thanks, Lily. It's been a busy year." I let my words hang. I didn't need to explain anything. My life spoke for itself. Her eyes darted around nervously, as if she wanted to say more but couldn't find the words. Finally, she whispered, I heard about your business. And Daniel, I just didn't realize." I nodded, letting her stumble over her feelings. I had no intention of gloating, but it was impossible not to notice the shift in power. The sister who had once been the golden child now seemed small and unsure, while I had grown into someone confident and unstoppable. That night, as Daniel and I left the gala, I felt a profound sense of closure. I didn't need apologies, inheritance, or their approval anymore. What I had, love, respect, and independence, was worth more than anything they could have taken away from me. Months later, our life continued to blossom. My business expanded internationally. Daniel and I traveled to exotic destinations, and we started planning our family. Every morning, I woke up knowing that I had built a life on my own terms. And the best part, the pain my family caused me didn't define who I had become. Then came another surprise, one that truly drove the point home. Danielle and I were invited to a charity auction hosted by an organization that focused on supporting women in business. As we walked in, I noticed a familiar face. My mother. She was there, alone, looking humbled and quiet. It wasn't long before she approached me, with no demands this time, no expectations. "Sweetheart," she said softly, "I just wanted to see you. I'm proud of you." I looked at her, feeling a mix of emotions. Nostalgia, sadness, and finally, peace. I realized that forgiveness didn't mean I had to forget, nor did it mean I had to let her back into my life fully. But I could allow her to witness my success without needing her validation. "I appreciate that, Mom," I said. "It means a lot," and that was it. The rest of the conversation was light, almost easy. It wasn't perfect, and it never would be. But it was enough to finally close that chapter. By this point, my life had completely shifted. I had discovered the joy of self-reliance, the beauty of choosing who truly belongs in my world, and the power of building happiness from the inside out. Daniel and I continued to grow together, supporting each other, celebrating milestones, and creating a family of love that had no conditions. Looking back, I realized that being cut out of the inheritance and my sister's wedding was a blessing in disguise. It forced me to find strength I didn't know I had, to pursue opportunities without waiting for anyone's permission, and to learn that the love and recognition I needed most had to come from within first. Sometimes, life teaches you lessons in the harshest ways, but those lessons are what shape you into the person you're meant to be. I learned that being excluded doesn't make you weak. It can be the catalyst to becoming unstoppable. The icing on the cake, quite literally, was the day Daniel surprised me with a special anniversary trip. We returned to the same beach where we had our honeymoon, and he handed me a small box. Inside was a charm shaped like a key, engraved with the words, "You hold your own destiny." I laughed through tears and hugged him. It was symbolic of everything I had endured, everything I had built, and everything I would continue to achieve. The key was mine, not my family's, not fate's, not anyone else's. And that's the final truth of my story. Life isn't about the people who cut you out or the moments they tried to steal. It's about what you do with the space they leave behind. You can fill it with resentment, or you can fill it with your own power, your own love, and your own success. So, if you're listening and you've ever felt forgotten, overlooked, or undervalued, remember this. Your life doesn't depend on their approval. Build your world embrace your strength, and never let anyone else write the story of your happiness. Because in the end, being cut out wasn't the end of me. It was the beginning of a life I never thought I could have. One filled with love, respect, and the freedom to live exactly as I choose. And that, my friends, is a story worth telling. Thank you for listening to my journey. Remember, you're stronger than you think. And sometimes, what feels like the worst betrayal can become the most beautiful turning point.